Okay, we are ready for the second concept from week 7. This is geometry, basic angle relationships. We're going to be using 3 ideas, and I've put the 3 ideas right down here on the paper in case you got a little stuck and you weren't sure, and maybe just seeing those words you'll say to yourself, oh, now I remember what I need to do. So the first one that we're going to use is this idea of complementary angles. That's how we're going to find this unknown. Complementary tells us that 2 angles will total 90 degrees. We already have an angle that is 42 degrees, so we'll take 90, take away 42, and that will give us 0 to 8. We had to borrow one from the 9, so that's now an 8, take away a 4, 48. And we know that this first angle, first one we're finding, is 48. Now, if you did these in a different order, you don't need to worry. It's not like there's only one way you can do it. The next thing we're going to use is this idea of vertical angles. Vertical angles tell us that 2 angles across from one another, where 2 lines cross, so we have these 2 lines crossing, these angles across from one another at that intersection will be the same. So, since this angle is 42, this angle is also 42 degrees. Let me put my degree marks in there. The next one that we'll use is supplementary. And what supplementary tells us is that on a line like this line, the measure of all of this will be 180 degrees. So since that total is 180 degrees, and we already know this 42, if we take 180 degrees and subtract 42 degrees, we get, there's an 8, I had to borrow from that, so that's a 7, 3, 1. We get 138 degrees. The final one that we'll use to get this corner up here is also going to be supplementary. Because if we have our line again, and remember this is 180 degrees, when we looked at right here, let me get my highlighter color that I want. Right here you can see a 90. So the other side of this also has to be a 90. So now you're going to either watch the second half of this video because you got these all correct and you're feeling like, man, I am an angle ninja, or you're going to pause the video and rework those problems because there was something maybe you weren't quite sure about. So based on how you did on this one, either advance right down to watch the rest or pause and rework some problems. Okay, we're ready to do the second part. So again, we're going to use these same ideas. Let's start this time a little bit differently. Let's start with the idea of the vertical angle. We're going to find this first angle as a vertical because we know that this angle and this angle have to have the same measure. They're on opposite sides of an intersection. So since the first was 32 degrees, this is also 32 degrees. Let's move to supplementary next. We're going to find this one. This whole angle right here is 180 degrees, or if you want to think of it, right there is 180 degrees, whichever one of those you want to look at. And since that whole angle is 180 degrees, and we already have the 32, we will do 180, take away 32. Now, before we do that, we should be looking, this is a lot bigger than 90, isn't it? A 90-degree angle would come right about there. That would be this piece right here. So this is a lot bigger than 90. So if you accidentally wrote a 90 instead of a 180, and you did the subtraction, and you got your answer, and you said, wait, that's less than 90 degrees. That can't be. That's where we start recognizing when an answer can't possibly be correct. So in this case, 0, take away the 2, 8, borrow from the 8 becomes a 7. 7 minus 3 is 4. We've got a 1 left over there. 148 degrees. Finally, this angle, this is our complementary this time. This is a 90-degree angle right here. How do we know it's 90? Because it's supplemental to that. Since this was a 90 right there, the other side has to be a 90 as well. So we've got that 90-degree angle. We already see 32, so 90, take away the 32, 8, that becomes an 8, 58 degrees. 58 degrees. Alrighty, so you're done and ready to go. You're going to bring me this corrected paper. You're going to let me know you're ready to take a test. I'll get one run for you. We will schedule a time at SSR for you to come in, take that test, increase your mastery, which will also help increase that grade. See you in class.